Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anybody listening?
Oh, yeah. This one's from RWNC. Can you make cleaning up puke fun? Question mark. I'm home today with my youngest, who has finally caught a stomach bug that has been circulating in our house. I'm listening this morning while I clean up puke and do all the puke laundry. Is this fun? Not really, but you make it a little better.
Aww.
I shared your podcast with a group of college friends as my current favorite listen, and their response was, that tracks. I don't know what that means in terms of how they view me, but I'm glad you're my type.
I want to know, that's very sweet. I want to know how this commenter shared it with her college friends. And them saying that tracks. I want to know what that means.
Interesting. I wait for Wednesday and the laughs you bring all week. Thank you.
Oh, that is so sweet. And I hope your kiddo is feeling so much better.
Yeah.
If you want to support our show outside of leaving a review, which, as you know, we love and live by, you can do so by joining us on patreon.com/nobody's listening right. You get discounts on merch. You get a bonus episode every month. And coming up on December 9th at 4 p.m. we're doing a holiday happy hour live stream, and we hope to see you all there with your holiday festive cocktails or mocktails ready to rumble.
Love it. And a big thank you to AG1 for supporting our show. If you want to take your ownership of your health, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NLR. That's drinkag1.com/NLR.
Hooray!
Yeah.
We have so much to cover this week.
We really do.
I don't know. You know, part of us coming back to do this podcast, first of all, I think it's really good for our relationship.
Maybe.
We love to do it.
Sort of.
It helps us work through some of our things.
It might.
Okay. But one of my favorite things about doing the podcast is throughout the week, there are times where you're like, ooh, I really want to talk about this, but I actually think it would be really fun for the podcast.
Yes.
And we obviously save it and then can have kind of a deeper dive into it than we probably would in the kitchen while I'm making crepes and the kids are, coming in and...
Because you're like, just let me cook. I got to focus on these crepes. I don't want to burn them. Is that it?
No.
I know what you mean.
It's more just, cooking time for me, though, is kind of like meditative.
I know.
And I don't really like often. Sometimes I do.
Well, it is true. Our kitchen banter is pretty rare. When it happens, it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're kind of a lone wolf in there.
Uh-huh.
I also like the sense of saving it for the podcast, if you will, because then you are truly held captive and must entertain some of the things I bring to the table in a way that you wouldn't have to outside of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, this really, you're really winning here in this because you love to look under every stone.
Mm-hmm.
What's that saying?
Look under every stone?
Turn every stone.
I think.
Dot I's, cross T's, all of it.
Yeah.
Can we start, first of all, with the fucking cults documentaries we've been diving into?
Yeah, let's start with the bummer, and then we'll get to, I have something that will lift us up a little bit.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, yes, it's a bummer, clearly. It's so disturbing. So we recently have been back-to-back watching all at once. All of these docuseries came out about the Twin Flames cult.
Mm-hmm. Twin Flames Universe is what it's called.
We know someone who entered this universe.
No, we don't. We don't know someone that entered the Twin Flames universe. We must make that very clear.
Okay.
So there's Twin Flames Universe.
Oh.
That's what these clubs are.
Are they in the galaxy?
And then, I don't know. Then there's there are other Twin Flames groups, not affiliated with Twin Flames universe. It's like a whole bigger movement.
Well, that's interesting to me. I want to ask about that also.
Yeah, and I'm to be completely honest, I'm not super comfortable getting into the specifics of the other one. But let's just say, no. I mean, like, I don't even want to name what the other group is.
Yes.
But let's just say there's a bunch of these, and they all seem to be the same sort of deal.
Well, but I want to ask you, that's exactly what I want to ask you. Is this like a franchise where they're kind of getting the playbook from, I think the universe is the OGE Twin Flames thing? Or were these things
I don't even know.
cropping up simultaneously, like all at once, multiple people kind of globbed onto the term Twin Flames? And I mean, because it seems like the mind fuckery is really similar. There's fucked up shit about gender identity. There's fucked up shit. You know, there's so many twisted mind games. And we've talked about this before. I just want to say the basis of what Twin Flames is sounds on its front page cover like, okay, pretty nice. It just sounds like there's a soulmate out there for you.
Right.
Every pot has a lid kind of thing.
On the surface, doesn't seem too harmful. But as soon as you peel back how seriously they mean that there's a twin flame person out there for everyone, it gets real dicey.
Yes. And I think we before have talked about the idea of soulmates and how I find that to be very harmful, particularly for women. Mm-hmm. To think, and I guess men in the sense, coupled with the idea that I think your generation grew up with and the generations before, I think it's changing, which is don't give up. If she says no, like, wear her down until she says yes to you.
Sure. That's a different thing.
No, but
very
I think,
relevant to Twin Flames.
Yeah, but I think it is relevant also to this idea of soulmates. If you think that you have your soulmate, men your age and older, I think, have, not to the degree that Twin Flames does, but have this idea of like, I asked her out 6 times and then she finally said yes and now we're married.
I think you're conflating two completely different things that get put together in the Twin Flames universe.
I think it's existed before this. And the reason I bring this up is because in the past, we have talked about the idea of soulmates. And I think you were a little bit hurt that I wasn't outright going, I think you're my soulmate.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely felt that way in the past, yeah.
Because I just think the idea of soulmates is really fucked up in some ways because it can make women kind of stay in relationships, particularly where it might not be healthy for them, but to them, they're like, he's my knight in shining armor, and he's my soulmate, so I must stay with him because I've never felt this connected before. You know, all of those things.
Sure.
And on the flip side, I think for men, it can have a whiff of, she's my soulmate, so I'm going to pursue this more than I would if the idea of soulmates just didn't exist.
So to me, that's where I feel like you're conflating, you're adding in this whole Twin Flames element that we'll get to that. I feel like in the past, the idea of soulmates, at least me personally, what you're saying about that old adage of like, you just got to try harder to get the girl. Don't give up. Like, even if she keeps saying no over and over, I'm acknowledging that completely. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like that was fueled with, because that woman's my soulmate. I thought it was more just fueled by like, you got to get it. Like, go, don't give up.
I think there can be some of that. Maybe not.
Yeah. But let's
super prevalent.
But
I just want to say, as a woman who, not that I think lots of people have thought I was their soulmate or anything, but like I've had, you know, going all the way back to Nature Boy in middle school who asked and asked and asked. And my mom was like, oh, don't be mean to him. Be nice. You know, it's a different, he gave me a 4-leaf clover. He was very sweet.
A real one?
Yeah. Because
and nothing?
See, this is exactly... he lived during the summers on like an island with no electricity. He was very into nature stuff. His family did. And he had a crush on me and it just wasn't reciprocated, but God love him. And he was so shy and nervous. So, you know, it does make me happy that he kept trying because I'm like, he probably built up his.
Okay,
Andy, I know you have this agenda.
It's just so complicated. Where like we're getting, I don't think what you're bringing is just making all of this more confusing. I think you're confused yourself about this whole thing with Nature Boy. But finish.
I'm just trying to prove the point that I don't think you get to say that I'm conflating things when I have a perspective that you don't and never have.
But you're saying what was fueling Nature Boy as like a young elementary or middle school kid was in his mind. He was like, Elizabeth is my soulmate. Where I'm saying...
No, you're taking it way more literally. I mean, yeah, I think at that age, maybe he did think that.
Well, yeah... It's just different to me. Let's move on from this aspect of it.
Of course it's different. I never said... I mean, listen. I think those two things do go hand in hand, and I think I've made my case for why it's problematic, particularly for women. And I know we're leaving, like, non-binary and gender fluid folks out of this. I think it's problematic for every single human being. Sometimes, I think by and large, it does more harm than good to think you have a soulmate out there.
Okay.
And Twin Flames kind of takes that and puts it on steroids.
I still there's parts of me, though, that really do think that you're my soulmate. And we've gone over this before. It's okay that it's not reciprocated.
Well, no,
I didn't give up.
What?
And here we are.
Well, I kind of didn't give up, if you want to. I mean, you didn't have a crush on me when we were little.
And did you think I was your soulmate?
Probably. I mean, I dated everyone I dated growing up or had crushes on had elements of like who I thought you were growing into, whether they were musicians or had long hair, like all of these dumb things.
Okay.
But let me say this. I don't believe in soulmates, but I do believe, I mean, this is as close to being a soulmate as you can have, that you were like divinely given to me.
Christ. Oh my God.
We're now sounding like a cult.
We're sounding like...
But, I've talked about this. The night my mom died, hearing this song playing over and over in my head and being weirded out about it because it was like a peppy, upbeat, hopeful song. Not a song you hear all the time. Mm-hmm. The night we run into each other in New York City, you recognize me 13 years later, my first huge crush. You call my name out. We end up hanging out all night long and having this crazy night that actually included vampires and Jim Jarmusch. I mean, was that night all?
I don't think Jim Jarmusch was that night, but vampires definitely were.
Okay, so, and then I get into a cab the next morning to go home, and that song is playing.
It's great.
And we have been together ever since. I haven't stepped out. I don't think you have either stepped out on me.
Right.
Have you?
No.
Okay. Even in the early days, you weren't like dating other people. And it's been a very good, smooth 20 years of relationship. And I feel I was so desperate for family at that time. So desperate. I mean, I was, in a different relationship earlier that I was trying to make my family, and it was such a bad fit.
So you were so desperate you made it work with me.
No, I was so desperate that it was such a gift, I think, from my parents.
Okay. I don't even know why. You just said so many sweet things, and I don't know why. I'm like so really annoyed.
Well,
but let me, you know what it is? I take this cult stuff very seriously.
Can I ask you about that?
Oh, God. Can I talk for a minute? Or ask you a question?
Why? I mean,
why?
Of course it's bothersome to know that cults exist, but it's not as though it has negatively, like, the existence of cults has negatively impacted your life in profound ways. And that's the energy you bring to it.
Yes. Okay. And I know we've talked about this before. I know I've spoken before to that, like, this stuff makes my blood boil, cult stuff. In college, I studied a lot of cult stuff in college, so I do have some knowledge about it. And for whatever reason, I have an interest in this stuff, and it just infuriates me when I see these people abuse their own power over innocent people and ruin innocent people's lives.
And I would say this specific thing, this
Yes.
is what I'm wondering, raises your blood pressure in a like, this is unjust. I mean,
more than
so,
most things.
And
yes.
there have been obviously all sorts of things happening in the world over the last 10 years. And I find it interesting, and no judgment, but like horrible things that happen that we're witnessing that I'm getting all like worked up about. And you stay pretty, I mean, not that you're not outraged on behalf of people, horrible things happening to people for no reason, but this specific thing, and I wanted to ask you, your professor at University of Montana, who we have since seen in multiple documentaries about, what was it called?
He
Heaven's Gate.
Very involved with Heaven's Gate, and the study of it.
Was he like, when he was professoring, first of all, were you in like a big lecture hall with him? Or was it like a small, more intimate classroom?
I took many classes with him, so there were some bigger lecture halls, and then there were some smaller classrooms.
And was he like pounding his fist at times and being like,
no,
this is...
could not have been a more chill guy.
And
very chill.
Did your righteousness about this form, were you feeling it then, or has it been as
you have a problem with me being righteous about cults?
No, I'm trying to get to the bottom of why this. Do you think you were in one in a former life?
Oh my God. I'm gonna like blow my top for some reason.
You're so annoyed.
No, maybe. You know what? Maybe.
Own it. Feel your feelings.
There is something about, listen, and I've talked at length, I have a lot of problems with organized religion as well. But to these people that are offering an answer when people are looking for an answer, so like they're just. Yes, do you want to interrupt me?
No. I was just going to say, they're offering an answer to a problem that they are either creating or exacerbating for the people that they. I'm just giving a kind of like tool guide for people who want to start cults.
I just think, they're the scum of the earth. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like when people take advantage of people, let alone lots of people. And then, as we learn in so many of these stories, they then force the people they're taking advantage of to do horrible things to other people too. It just gets so icky and horrendous.
It's the cycle of abuse.
Right.
That's the cycle of abuse. Yes. And what I find very interesting.
Why are you smiling? It's like that Modern Family episode we recently saw where the mom, Claire, is like smiles every time something horrible happens, or when she's talking about bad news or like people dying.
I do have
you do that
problem.
sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's just lay out the basics of this. I feel like we're going to spend some time here. So
can I lay out the basics?
Please.
So twin flames, as you said, the basic tenet of it is every person has a twin flame. The next step of this is, of those twin flames, the two people, one is divine masculine and one is divine feminine. Now, that doesn't mean it has to...
Conveniently for this cult, because they had more women involved.
90% women, 10% men. What that meant is, for them to start making more pairs, they started suggesting to a lot of women that their true essence was divine masculine, and they encouraged a lot of people to start taking on that gender identity.
Transitioning.
And in some cases to even transition. That is a very, very problematic thing on the surface, period, right? That's not how transitioning works for people in the trans community. You're not coerced by someone else to take on a new identity.
It's actually, as an expert on this documentary pointed out, it's conversion therapy. It's different. We think of conversion therapy as like Christian churches going, you're not trans, you're not gay, like I'm going to pray it out of you or whatever. And in this case, it's the conversion therapy to be like, you are in the wrong gender. It's kind of the same.
Yeah. But on the outside, though, it looks to be very LGBTQ friendly, right?
Sure.
Because it is supporting trans people, which that would be fantastic if it wasn't for the fact that this is not the way to actually do that. It's completely messed up.
And also, it's weirdly promoting an unbelievably heteronormative male and females go together.
Yeah, it's so crazy the layers of twisted that this is. So anyway, so you have people that the abuse that they've undergone is some of this gender identity stuff. Then there is the people that start stalking who they think their twin flames is. And the leaders of this cult are encouraging them to do this.
People have gone to jail because they got messed up restraining orders. And this scares me. I actually was relieved to hear that they started to say, you know what, we're just going to pair up in our group.
Right.
Because I was like, any of us could be having a conversation with some like lighter fluid hoe at the grocery store. And she decides you're her, I shouldn't say hoe, that's not fair. She decides you're her twin flame and starts stalking you.
Yeah.
You're married with children and whatever. But
not only is she stalking me, there's people telling her, oh, yeah, that guy that is married with 2 kids. Yeah, that really is your truth flame. Keep on a stalking.
Yeah. And they basically brainwash people and say, what I found also very interesting is their whole thing is once you find your twin flame, and we should say the main leaders of this universe are a couple, male-female couple, and I think it's mostly him, which we'll get to in a minute, who is like doing all of this and like creating the abuse and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's saying once you are with your twin flame, then you're complete. It's like you're 2 parts of a whole, that idea of like, you complete me, which I also don't love. So, and that like, basically once you meet your twin flame, it should all be kind of, finally you're getting elevated to this like next level of spirituality and stuff that you can't have. You can't have happiness. You can't have any of this until you are with this person. Yeah. But then all of the couples who are with their twin flames, and this couple basically, their names are Jeff and Shalia, start saying, well, they're your twin flame, and playing God.
Yeah.
None of them are happy because none of them like each other that way. There's no chemistry, and they're being brainwashed and brain fucked to think, well, like, what's wrong with me? And they call that a block. If you are with your twin flame and it's not going well, it's your fault.
It's your fault.
You have shit going on you haven't worked through. You need to. It is what I find remarkable about this, and we both have talked about how scary it is because there are scientists who join this. I mean, they're really smart people, and you think it couldn't happen to you. Well, it could. You think it couldn't happen to your child. Well, it could. And that's what scares me. And I'm like, how can we prevent our children from getting sucked into something like this? And I kind of think the answer is showing them this documentary when it's age appropriate, showing them the Nexium documentary, showing them the Heaven's Gate documentary. It is all the same playbook. Yeah. And it is unbelievable how the same the playbook is.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's one white guy who decides he's God and convinces other people he's God and gets them either to give him all of their money or to have sex with him. Those are kind of, and usually it's both. In this case, it seems like it is just give him all the money. Maybe he just didn't get to the sex part yet. And brainwashes everyone and makes everyone, he alone is solving a problem that he is either creating for you or making worse for you.
Yeah.
And also, everything bad that happens is your fault. Like, that's how the brainwashing happens.
Yeah.
And then the cycle of abuse, like you were saying, getting the diehard followers to start abusing other people in the same way.
Yeah. It's also designed to just keep everybody stuck in the cult and paying for these services. I think the documentaries did an okay job talking about the money, but I don't think they did enough. That like this is also just a scam. Like, most of these cults also just start as a fucking scam. These egomaniacs figure out they can make money in this way, right? Mm-hmm. And then to keep making the money, they need to recruit more people, and they need to keep more people in, and they need to charge people money to take the classes. Those people then need to become coaches. Let's charge them to become coaches. They become these crazy MLM marketing schemes, right?
It is an MLM. But and in Jeff's case, the documentary goes into... Before this, he had a thing of he could cure your cancer, your multiple sclerosis if you paid him a certain amount of money. I mean,
it's all bullshit. Yeah. And so, as far as the documentaries go, I would say the Netflix one is the better of the two.
Yeah.
But they both like cover some different things. So I'm glad we watched the one on Amazon too, like to get a bigger sense of it.
Do you have any thoughts on like, do you agree with me of like how we can prevent? Because once someone's sucked in, it seems to be that there's truly nothing you can do.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
you
like
can
there's
say,
much.
I'm here for you if you ever... Oh, the other thing, I mean, this is true of all abusive relationships.
Yeah.
Step 1 is to turn people against their friends and family that can be trusted.
Oh, yeah.
So that they alone can only rely on you. And all of the people who are in the Twin Flames universe were encouraged and in some ways forced to write letters to their families and say, I no longer have contact with you. I wish you a good life.
I mean, that's one of the like main red flags of these kind of groups turning into cults.
And I would say also in dating relationships.
Oh, yeah.
If you're dating someone and they start to really try to
isolate you from family and friends.
That's a big red flag.
Yeah, for sure. Just real quick. So the other Twin Flames groups out there, I did a bit of a deep dive on the one that we know someone that is a part of. And I looked at some others. It's like the same exact shit. It's tons of these like YouTube videos of them talking, preaching this Twin Flame stuff. And then you go to the website and it's all the different levels of classes and everything. And so I think when this started coming, when the idea of Twin Flames started becoming a thing, then all these people that were attracted to it started looking around and were like, oh, this is just another way to make money. So I think there's a lot of like kind of copycat groups.
Right.
And I would imagine there's other things not based on Twin Flames in this new kind of social media influencer era of similar things that we will keep hearing about that are going to turn into cult-like organizations.
Yeah. I actually was relieved that it was online because when the few people did decide to leave, they simply block.
Yeah.
It's different. I think it's of all the cults that you want your person to be in, like this one seems not mentally easy to get out of course, but at least they physically don't know you, where you live, like, that sort of thing.
Oh, I don't think that's true. I think they had so much control, even though the people were online relationships. Most of these people became part of the business. They were working for them. They had all these. They had all the info on all the people involved. I think they had so much info. I don't think there's that big of a difference. I think they're not as held physically captive, obviously.
Yeah.
There's probably less of a risk of the story that, the leader starts fucking everybody in the cult, right? Like, which seems to be a step that happens in 80% of these.
I feel like we are just, I mean, the spotlight's being shown on Jeff and Shalia right now, so maybe it won't get to that point, but I'm like, that's gonna come. Like,
yeah.
People like Jeff, who obviously have, is it called a God complex or something?
Well, he does think he's Christ. He does think he's the second coming. That happens. And it's all a progression you see with these leaders, right?
Do you think he believes it?
That's the weird thing with him. That's hard to deduce.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. I will say, you say that the woman, Shalia, you think is more of a victim in the situation.
Well,
where
yeah.
I did think it was really interesting. There's some testimony from her father that was like, there is no way she doesn't know what she's doing, which that I thought was like
chilling.
Goosebumps. Yeah,
Yes.
goosebumps. Yeah.
Do you wonder why you're so passionate about this? And I will say the other thing that gets you really outraged, and you're a very even-keeled guy, which thank God one of us is like someone who's a goddamn liar.
Yeah.
Do you wonder why those are the things that trip you up?
I see the similarities between both of them.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. False prophets.
Right.
Yeah. Let's move on for now, though. Go check those documentaries out.
They're okay.
They're all right. Elizabeth?
Yes.
I'm really excited about our new partner, AG1.
Me too, especially because our brother-in-law, Brian, told us when you start ads, if AG1 reaches out, please hook me up with that discount code because he is such a huge fan and he's a fit man.
An Adonis, if you will.
Yes. And so here we are. It's all happening.
I'm pinching myself. So I replaced my multivitamin with AG1. I'm about 2 weeks in and it's going great so far. There's a lot of prebiotics, probiotics, all that good stuff to keep my gut tip top.
Yes.
And it's wintertime, right? There's a lot of vitamin C and zinc in there for the immune health. So I'm thrilled so far.
Yeah, immunity and gut health are everything.
That's it. So AG1 is a supplement we trust to provide the support our bodies need daily, and that's why we're excited to welcome them as a new partner. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NLR. That's drinkag1.com/NLR. Check it out. My brother, was just in town with our amazing niece.
Uncle Matt and Mal.
Such a fun time.
Love them.
So anyways, we went to the mall. The kids were with us. You stayed home. You were working. While we're in the mall, Molly and Teddy, I think, went to go into like Lush or something like that. And I was with my brother and Otis. And I think we were just like waiting, like just standing waiting. I can't remember why we were in this spot, but anyways.
Where are you?
Just in the middle of the mall and like where everyone's walking.
Okay.
Okay, outside some stores.
Great.
Waiting.
This is going to eat away at you.
I know. Why were
you
we just waiting there?
Okay.
Doesn't matter. My brother is like, whoa, hey, oh my gosh, look at this. And I turn around and a little dog has just taken a shit in the middle of the mall. Okay. My brother saw the entire thing. Okay. So, and then he's like stunned sort of. And then is like hitting me to look. And I turn around and I was like, oh, this little dog shit. And it wasn't a huge amount of shit, but it was like a really gross little wet turd in the middle of the mall thoroughfare.
And hang on, you need some more context.
Oh, please. And yeah.
Was the dog on a leash?
Mm-hmm.
And being walked by a person?
Mm-hmm.
And who was the person?
The person was, I find out a little later. In all of this, I didn't really see that. I just kind of turn around and see a dog leaving and my brother being like, look at the poop, right? And then there's a lot of people.
And so the person presumably didn't notice the dog pooping.
Correct.
Okay. Great.
Correct.
Great.
So they kind of disappear and I instantly go into like, what are you going to do, Matt? Like,
like he saw it first.
He saw this happen first. And meanwhile, he's kind of stunned watching it. And then we're watching all these people almost step into the poop.
God.
And this would have been a horrible type of poop to step into. One, you could have slipped, or two, it's just so gross.
Like
this
gelatinous.
Wet turd.
Yeah.
Okay. Like almost like kind of a sick dog turd.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not great.
Well, that also makes sense that it did that because usually dogs poop and they make the weird little like G shape with their bodies and like it's a whole thing. Yeah. But I think a sick dog, it can kind of just be slipping out as you're going. And I'm going to wager that wasn't the only poop that dog had in that ball.
Oh, that's horrible.
Okay.
So we're standing there and it's like, what are you going to do? And for a second, it's like kind of funny. And the first person that misses not stepping into it is sort of funny because it's like, oh, it's about to happen. But then it's like, wait, this is bad. This is not good.
Can you not verbally tell people, hey, are you too far away?
Well, this mall is jamming. This is like a big responsibility now. Like, what are we going to do? And it's on Matt, right? And guess what? He's a coward. Okay. He does nothing. So at that point, I'm like, I got to do something about this.
And does Matt say to you, I'm out?
No, not at all.
But you can tell.
I can tell. And I start feeling really bad for all these people that are going to step in this dog shit. So I take control and I'm like, where do you think they are? The people. And my brother kind of starts looking around. And while my brother's looking around, I then go stand over the poop.
Wait,
so
what
I'm
people?
straddling the poop with the dog.
Because they should come back and clean it up?
I'm not cleaning it up. My brother's not cleaning it up. They need to clean it up.
Okay.
Okay. You have a problem with that?
Well, it's just a lot. I mean, my
oh my gosh. Oh yeah, what would you have done at this point?
I would have asked to get, and here's why. I don't want to stand there for a long time. Mm-hmm. Similar to you, I'm like, it now is on my shoulders. Mm-hmm. The process of going to get someone and then also the odds of them being like, oh, okay, I'll come back. It's just like, it's kind of just like an economics thing, and how it's an efficiency thing, like how much out of
to clean it up you have to go to Auntie M's to get a bunch of napkins?
Yes, fine.
And you're cleaning up a wet gross dog poop with napkins?
Yeah, I guess, and get a bag.
From where?
Auntie M's.
The one they put the pretzels in?
Or
the paper bags?
I feel like you could procure a plastic bag at a mall.
But think of the energy. Just picture that what you're saying right now. How much steps that is to take care of. Are
any other people walking by with dogs?
No.
Okay, because I would love to.
We're in the mall. We're in the mall.
Someone surely has a doggy bag at some.
Okay, so I don't actually believe that's what you would do. Because when you think of there's more friction in that than you're realizing, sort of. Okay.
There's more what?
Friction.
Okay.
Like to do the thing. There's a lot of steps and a lot of things that have to go your way. So what I did was I walked over and I stood over the poop. So no one can walk into me, right?
And were you alerting to people that like someone else's dog, not mine, someone else's, not mine?
There's no need to even alert anyone. I'm sort of a poop cone.
Is it smelling?
I'm not, no. We're in the mall in this little poop. The smell's not on my mind. I just don't want someone to step into this.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's great.
So I'm poop cone, right? Just awkwardly standing in the flow of traffic, but so people don't do that. So I'm being a great Samaritan. Not a good one, a great one. Okay?
And also to beef up your thesis of being a great Samaritan.
Yeah.
You're also, I mean, if someone does see the poop and sees you standing over it, like people are going to assume.
What are they going to assume?
That's something you created, or that's
like it's human feces?
Or I don't know, like you have
that I'm
involvement.
That thought doesn't cross my mind at all.
I'm surprised by that. Okay. You are a great Samaritan.
So while I'm poop coning, my brother does a little detective work and finds the guy and the dog like 2 or 3 stores down. Okay? So he's like, they're in there. So I'm like, all right, you're a coward. You're not going to talk to him. I'm going.
So does he take over poop cone?
I don't think he did.
Are you kidding
I don't know.
me? This is like blowing my mind. And what's Otis doing in all of this?
I can't remember. And now I'm starting to worry, like, was I watching the kids? I just got so focused on this.
Okay.
So I go into the store, I'm looking around, and finally, boom, there he is, man with dog. This tiny little dog. The man looks like, remember Weekend at Bernie's, Bernie?
Yeah.
So he looks like Bernie with those kind of little glasses.
And like a Hawaiian shirt?
No, more just like the essence of Bernie, but like with white hair and the weird little glasses.
Okay.
And I walk up to him and I go, "Sir, your dog pooped out there." And he goes, "I don't think so."
What?
Yeah. I don't think so. And I like almost laughed, and I was so confident that there's no way he was gonna get out of this with me or no. And I was like, "Oh no, he did." Like I was like,
Did you say we watched the whole thing and I've been poop coning and
I didn't say that much, but I was like, "Oh, he did. It's out here." Like I was so believable. Like,
okay.
and so he's like, "Oh, I'll come take a look." So I go back out. And then he walks out with the dog. And then all of us were kind of cowards and left to not watch what he did. Because we were just like, okay, we got to get out of here now. But he did go to, I'm assuming, rectify it.
And so no one stepped in it while Matt was not poop coning?
Well, he was waiting for someone to step in it, you mean?
Yeah.
No one. Yeah, no one. We kept everybody safe.
Oh my gosh, what an adventure.
Yeah. But you know...
What did Otis make of all of this?
It's weird. I'm like, were the kids there? They were there. And then like when Molly and Teddy came back, we were kind of like, okay, yeah, there's a poop thing. We got to go. And they're confused. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. And I'm
really proud of you. And I'm proud of who you are. And I'm disappointed in Matt. Matt is not to... I hope you don't take this the wrong way. But I do put Matt on kind of like a higher vibration than me as well.
Yeah.
All of us, really.
Yeah, I hear
and
you.
This has brought him down to earth quite a bit for me.
It's a different thing, though. I think I understand the critique you're doing. And Matt, if you're listening, it might be time to like take a deep look inside. But yeah, I think he was also stunned because he was the first to see it happening.
Here's the thing. I wish there were more Andys out in the world. And now, again, kind of this is like a principle thing. And I know when you went to find that guy, he is not getting out of going to deal with it.
No, you're
Whereas,
not.
For me, going to find that person is truly like odds are 50-50.
You're almost like, as long as I say something to the guy, I'm off. No. I don't have to worry about it.
No, that is where we are different. Is if the person was like, fuck off, that didn't happen and it's not my problem and leave me alone, I'm going to clean it up.
Oh, no way.
Yes, because our goal and your whole goal, you've already poop coned. You've dedicated quite a bit to this. Like, not getting it, not making sure that no one steps in this is not finishing the job.
It's interesting. This is a big difference between us. I'm looking for justice and you just want to fix the problem.
Right.
Huh.
And neither, well, I don't know if
They're different.
They're different. But the other thing I was going to say is that it's interesting that this all happened. And also, I have found that people do things for different reasons, like justice or just to fix it. And then the vast majority of people don't do fucking shit.
Yeah.
And, I've noticed that, like, I'm always finding stray animals and stuff like that. Pets, not just squirrels. But I'll see, like, a stray dog running by someone who could easily get them.
Sure.
They don't deal with it.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know, in some ways I envy that attitude because it's just like, this isn't going to mess up my day. But I wish there were more people who stop to deal with it because the burden on you is so much less than the person who's stepping and slipping. You could have saved a life. Like, someone could have cracked their head open.
But what's so funny is where you're coming from is so much more pure than me, where most of my motivation was like letting this guy know his dog shit and like the satisfaction of knowing that he had to clean it up. Now, I didn't want anyone to step in it.
I know
that
you
was
didn't,
important.
and you worked hard.
And I worked hard. I was poop-coned. Right.
And also, you're with a person who is, by all accounts, a very good person who opted out of all of this. The only thing he really did was he went and did some intel,
and he notified me about the situation. And to be fair, too, I kind of, when he was cowarding, I had to take charge, you know. Similarly, and I don't know, did I tell you this? It's also just like I'm getting older and more curmudgeon-y in general. I think these kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, we then went to lunch and they sat us the table next to the bathroom, and I was like, no, I don't sit here. Like,
I don't sit here.
Like, you're going to have to get me a different table.
Well, that's fine. You know what? You know what you like. And if the alternative is we're leaving this restaurant because I don't sit here. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. And other people might not have the same, problems with sitting there. I probably wouldn't. And so.
And then in the whole meal you're uncomfortable sitting there?
We don't have the same. Listen. Okay. Your brother said something about you while we were here, and he said, you're getting more ornery.
Yes.
And I feel like you're adopting that.
No.
Like you saying I'm turning more into a curmudgeon.
Oh, I don't. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not linking those two together.
I don't really think that you are.
I think I'm more comfortable and
establishing boundaries.
Yeah, and setting some boundaries.
And we all should be.
Yeah.
You don't need to come to, I'm not sitting there with like emotion and like, how dare you try to seat me? It's just very matter of fact. If this is our only option, I don't want to eat here because I won't enjoy the meal. Nothing against you. Maybe a little bit against the like restaurant planner, but it's not coming with emotion or judgment. It's just, look, this is my boundary. And that's how boundaries should be. And it takes the emotional weight. I mean, I think people have a lot, and I include myself in this. Sometimes it can be very hard to set boundaries because there's so much emotional politics involved. But if you really distill the boundary down to, it's this or this for me.
Like it.
And there's no emotion attached to it. It's just this or this.
Yeah.
Then I think it can kind of diffuse the emotional situation for everyone. And I admire that. And so did they seat you at another table?
Yeah.
I'm really glad you saved that. That was very funny to listen to.
Yeah.
Kind of all your favorite things: malls, poop,
old men,
justice,
weird old men. I love defensiveness. I love defensiveness.
Which is so funny because it's my least... I hate defensiveness.
It is, we have so many interactions with people where their initial reaction is defensiveness, and it's always mind-boggling to me. Like, your dog pooped in the mall. No, I don't think so. Why don't you think so? As you pointed out, this dog's probably been shitting all over the mall with its loose bowels. But also, you have a dog, and someone's coming up to you.
Look how heated you're getting. I love it.
What do you think? Like, why are you everyone's defensive, and I know I am with stuff too. But it's just so funny.
Do you think of me as a defensive person?
As a defensive? Oh yeah, for sure. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, but like. So this is a quality you think I have?
I think it's a quality everybody has.
Yeah. But would you say me more so than others? That's kind of what I'm asking, and I just need to get clarity.
I don't have an example top of mind that I can throw at you. So I think you're just in the boat with the rest of us.
Throw this guy a bone. When we had our dog, and I've had dogs all my life up until recently. Again, you kind of know when they're pooping because you'll feel some resistance on the leash. Yeah. They're forming into a G curve. They're doing it and you see it. the fact that it was a sick poop, if he wasn't aware that his dog was sick, now if he knew his dog was sick and had had some loose stools, that changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why he would be like, no, she didn't.
Right.
And the other thing I wanted to say is not only did you maybe save a life by someone slipping on it and cracking their head open,
Mm-hmm.
you may have saved that dog's life. Because it could have been a gelatinous poop because it ate a chicken bone and there's an obstruction, or him seeing what the poop looked like, was there blood in it? I don't know. Could have changed the trajectory. He might be on a podcast right now going, this guy out there, whoever you are, thank you.
Wow.
Little Ruffles is living to see another day. Thanks to you.
That is a beautiful version of the story. Just the fact that he didn't even notice the dog pooping doesn't make me think that he would be that intuitive to the type of bowel movement it was.
Okay. Yeah.
But why am I being defensive of what you're saying to me? Why not just accept that beautiful story?
You know, defensiveness really lies in us not wanting to feel like we're bad people.
That's a big part of it, for sure.
And I think that's something, you know, that's a very human. And also, I think it implies that you are, I mean, to tie this whole episode together again, you're an ethical person who, you know, at the root of it is you don't want to be seen as bad because now I guess I would assume Jeff and Shalia are very defensive. In fact, it seems that they are. And I don't think they're good people. And Jeff, I think, is like, for sure, a narcissist and kind of doesn't have any empathy or like moral anything.
Something.
So I take that back. But last night, our household fell into chaos.
Oh my God.
Out of nowhere. And it was really interesting to see. We were having a lovely night.
Yeah.
Great dinner.
Yeah.
We're going to cozy up and watch TV before bed. And something happened where someone farted on something or someone farted. And we don't need to say who did what.
Okay, that's fine. But we have initiated a thing called the Fart Corner.
Yes.
I'm just going to tell you because you don't know exactly what happened, so I'll tell you. But
all I know is everything was peaceful and calm, and then the shit hit the fan in such a way that
it was insane.
And we were in it for an hour.
Yeah. So we have this thing called the Fart Corner. If you need to fart, you go to the Fart Corner, which was it's just a joke you made up at the cabin. It was really funny. I'd like for
it to be a Toot Corner.
A Toot Corner. So
Otis really made it up.
Yes, that's right. So one of the kids were watching TV, and it was something like one of the kids needed to fart and was like, I'm going to the Fart Corner or Toot Corner, and started running that way. And then the other kid was like, it's closed, and went over to block at the Fart Corner.
Okay.
One kid toots.
Uh-huh.
And everyone's like, it's funny. Everybody's laughing at this point, right? Then the toot happens, and then all of a sudden, the world changed because one of the kids felt that the fart was too close to their new pajamas.
They were.
And that the new pajamas were messed up.
Yeah.
I can kind of sympathize with that. I don't like to sit next to the, right? Yeah. So all of a sudden, one kid is upset about the pajamas, and I'm trying to tell them, I don't think the fart was anywhere within the vicinity that would harm the pajamas. There was ample distance. I'm trying to de-escalate the situation that way.
Oh, now I know exactly what happened.
And then
you trying to de-escalate made the other kid think you were taking that kid's side by acknowledging and going, yes, I understand why you would be upset. I don't think it was that bad. But the other kid took it on to mean you did something wrong here.
Yeah, that's quite possible.
When really, you're just trying to get us all to be able to watch TV.
Yeah, I just want to watch TV anymore, and the pajamas are fine.
So I come out, someone calls me, and I think you're still kind of diffusing with the one who's now kind of gone to the room, and the other one is, I think, still giddy, kind of laughing from the fun of it, trying to tell me their side of the story. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what I gather very quickly is this has to do with a fart and pajamas. And I'm like, I don't care. And I just want everyone to calm down. Like, this doesn't matter. And so, and the way they were hyper doing it also set the other one off more.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to the hyper one, hey, it doesn't matter. Please just calm down. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm so paranoid about people listening and being like, you're such a bad parent. But I didn't think this was a huge deal. Everyone's laughing.
I did. It was from a fart. I was so disoriented that then when one of the kids, let's call them the farter, disappeared, and then I was like, where are they? And then I realized they were upset. And I started, they came in trying to explain what was going on. And the fart of it, I started almost uncontrollably laughing. I had to leave the room so as not to be insensitive because it was so absurd.
Well, what happened was the farter, who's the one I shut down because I just wanted to shut it all down.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the farter felt that they were trying to defend their side of the story. And again, this goes to being defensive over nothing. In our minds, nothing bad really happened. And farts happen and pajamas happen. And
sometimes the fart corner's not open.
But the farter, even though they seemed hyper and like giggly, I think mentally really needed to be heard defending themselves.
Yeah.
And I shut that down.
Right.
And they went off to their room. And then it turned into, an hour with both the farter and the farty screaming, crying.
Yeah.
And
it was, we were like, how did we get here? How did this one fart create it? It seemed unimaginable.
What's it called? The fart that heard around the world?
Yeah.
At one point, you and I are standing in one kid's room and hearing them out. And of course, it's not always just about the fart. You know, there's other things going on that start to come out and stuff. It led us on a windy path to many other destinations of upsets that people have had. But you and I were just standing there like limp-armed watching, and neither of us knew how to navigate this or deal with it. You know, both of us stayed there, though, and I think that's important to be like, for them to realize their big feelings are not going to shake us, or we're not so put off by big feelings that we're leaving immediately.
I bounced.
Well, you did. Well, it was really funny.
I was there for a while.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm going to go look at my phone somewhere.
At first, I thought you must have gone to the other kids' room because they also. So what happened was.
I was like, there's no solving this right now. Elizabeth's taking care of it.
You were Matt in this situation, and I was being the poop cone here. Yeah. But I thought that you had gone to the other kids' thing, and I was like, gosh, that's not going well. Similar to how mine's not going well. But mine, started to seem like it settled a little bit, and I had been in there for long enough that I heard the other one really ramping up. So I went in to see what was going on. I discovered you're not there. Then later, eventually both of them calmed down. Yeah. And I had a really long conversation with one of them, and then the other one, I got in and snuggled with them. Anyway, it was quite a scene in our home. These are the times, so we have like such lovely neighbors that live very close to us.
Forget about the neighbors. It was such mayhem that CPS could have knocked on the door and we would have been like, the fart corner was closed and there was a fart and it was too close to the pajamas. And they'd be like, I don't think so. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I was trying to get to is like, and this happens less and less, but especially when the kids were little, we're a household of big feelings. We got thin walls. I know you can hear us from like out on the street. And I'm like, do they care about our kids? Like CPS has never shown up, not once. They must just assume.
Oh, it's crying kids. That happens all the time.
Yeah. Just last night, I definitely.
None of them would have thought the spark that sparked it was a fart, though. I'll tell you that much.
I definitely Would you wager that they mentioned what was happening in our home to each other last night, our neighbors?
Oh.
Someone else outside of this home mentioned it to someone
or
else.
like they might have
Clocked
texted
it.
someone like, these kids have been crying for an hour next door. Yeah, that's plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof, that was crazy.
Big feelings.
Big feelings.
Big feelings, poop cones,
Cults.
We covered it all.
Careful out there.
Be careful out there.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
Good night.